Hi guys, Steady Eddie here. Hope all's well with everybody. So in this vlog I'm going to answer a question that comes up quite often in the comments section. The question is, if I was to go to Pattaya for 2 weeks, how much money do you think I'll need? Well, this is actually quite a common question, and it does come up a lot in the comments section. Not just me, but I've seen other YouTubers get the same question. So it's worth answering, and what I'm going to do, I'm going to try and answer it as best I can. So who's asking this question? Well, the guy who asked this question is perhaps somebody who's never actually been to Pattaya, but he's heard all about it, he's seen the videos on YouTube, and he's decided that this is a really good place to visit. He's got 2 weeks to spare, and basically he wants to know, if he goes there for 2 weeks, how much it's going to cost him. Obviously the guy who asked this question is budget conscious, but why not? After all, we're all in the same boat and money doesn't grow on trees. It's also important to mention the 2 weeks aspect. Now that may not seem long enough for those used to travelling to Thailand, but remember, many people simply have to choose 2 weeks because of work commitments. So in this vlog, I'm simply going to deal with 2 weeks. Also, I want to make it clear that when I mention prices for things, this does not include the Christmas period. I know many people have 2 weeks holiday at Christmas, but this is an exceptionally expensive time for Thailand, so prices for flights and everything else goes up. It's much better to take 2 weeks in January or February. Still great weather, but not as pricey as Christmas. So it's a good question, but it's not an easy question to answer. Why? Well, because everyone is different. Let's look at it this way. Everyone knows by now that Thailand is no longer the dirt cheap destination it once was. Prices have gone up, the Thai baht has strengthened against Western currencies. It's still good value compared to European countries, but it's not dirt cheap anymore. Notice here I'm talking exclusively about Pattaya and not other well-known beach resorts like Phuket or Koh Samui. Reason for this is that I'm not an expert on those places. I went to Phuket many years ago, Krabi a few years ago, and I've never made it to Koh Samui. But it's a fair bet that those places are more expensive than Pattaya. They may be more glamorous than Pattaya, but Pattaya is definitely one of the better value resorts in Thailand. Also, Pattaya is much easier to get to because it's just 90 minutes by road from Bangkok Suvarnabhumi Airport. So we'll stay with Pattaya. So there's 3 important things that you'd have to consider if you want to spend 2 weeks in Pattaya. Firstly, Pattaya, Thailand is no longer the bargain destination that it once was. Secondly, the Thai baht has grown strong against all currencies, especially Western currencies. And the third thing that you have to consider is your own personal spending habits. So of these 3 things, which one is the most important? Well, I actually think it's the third one, your own personal spending habits. That's the one that will decide ultimately how much you spend on a 2-week holiday to Pattaya. So before we talk about the actual spending money, let's talk about the other 2 essentials, flights and hotels. Well, you can already know the price of these things because presumably you're going to book them on the internet before you go. Flights, well, the good news is that flights from London to Bangkok have not risen that much over the years. But it depends whether you're going to go economy or business class. Obviously, business class is the expensive one. Some people need that luxury, others are quite happy with economy. Well, providing I can get an aisle seat, I'm content with economy. I'm not an airplane enthusiast, I just want that plane to get me there. And in recent years I found airlines that will do a direct flight for the price of an indirect one. EVA Airways is very good, and I've recently booked a flight with Thai Airways from Heathrow to Bangkok, a direct flight for £506 return. £506 return ticket direct from London to Bangkok. I'm more than happy with that. Okay, so hotels. What kind of hotel are you going to stay in during your 2-week stay in Pattaya? Well, there's plenty to choose from in Pattaya and plenty of sites on the internet to book from. Booking.com, Agoda, Trivago, they're all there with all the info you will need, although it's not always 100% accurate. So how much is this hotel going to cost per night? Well, that's up to you and your requirements. In Pattaya, hotels can be anything from $10 per night to $200 and beyond. It's up to you. But let's assume you're a guy who's budget conscious and wants to stay in a nice hotel that's good value but still has all the comfort you will need. Well, the first thing I will say when booking, make sure you book a double room, because even if you're staying in that room alone, you may want to bring a guest there for company. That's another subject. Enough said. So the cost of this double comfortable room for the budget traveller? Well, let's say for £20 UK per night, you could get a nice, comfortable, clean and even spacious double room in the Soi Buakhao area. And an area like this has all the bars and entertainment that you'll need on your doorstep. If you stay around the Walking Street area, you'll pay more for everything. Now 20 quid a night is great value, especially when compared to European cities. But when you book that hotel, there's certain things that you may want to consider. Do you require breakfast with that room? Or perhaps you want a swimming pool in that hotel? Fine. If you want a swimming pool or breakfast, more luxurious hotel, expect to pay around £30 a night. But then you really need to consider how much time are you actually going to spend in that hotel? Remember, this is Pattaya that we're talking about, and there's a lot to be done outside. Well, the fact is that there are those who love nothing more than hanging around the hotel all day, especially the swimming pool. Each to their own. Personally, a swimming pool is not an essential requirement for me. Don't get me wrong, when I see the pictures of this hotel and nice big pool, I think, wow, that looks good. Fact is, I've stayed in hotels for a week or two and I've never gotten around to using that swimming pool. It looks good when you first see it, but I always want to get out and explore the city. I don't want to be hanging around hotel pools all day. And as for breakfast, well, do you ever get up for breakfast? Come on, this is Pattaya. You want to go out in the raz until the early hours of the morning. Breakfast times are usually 7 to 10 a.m. What? After a night on the town, I'm not getting up that early. I've stayed in hotels where I've paid for breakfast and then never gotten up for it. Point I'm making here is that when you're booking your hotel, don't pay more for things that you are not necessarily gonna need. Simple as that really. £20 a night may seem bargain basement for some, but I'm not going to pay more money for a swimming pool that I never get round to using or breakfast that I can never get out of bed for. But then that's just me. Okay, for the budget traveller, what are we up to now? That's a £500 flight, £280 for hotels for 2 weeks. What else is there before we talk about spending money? Yes, how about getting to and from those airports? Well, it depends how far away you live and which transport you're going to use. Bus, train, car, whatever. Me, I live about 200 miles from Heathrow Airport, so I use the reliable National Express coach to get me there. Not the most luxurious form of transport, but it's simple, reliable, and I don't trust anything else to get me there without any problems. So if you're in a similar position, you've got to price up all of this. Remember, you've also got to travel from Bangkok to Pattaya, which can be cheap if you use the shuttle bus from Suvarnabhumi Airport. But then you've got to include things like taxis to your own airport and when you get to Pattaya. And of course, you have to do the journey back again. I usually get a shuttle bus from Bangkok to Pattaya, but allow myself the luxury of a taxi on the way back, which cost around 1200 baht. So other than the flight, add another £100 for all those transport costs. So up to now, we've got a £500 return flight, £280 hotel and £100 for getting to and from those airports. So that's a grand total of £880 up to now. Not bad really, I'd say. But now we come to the big issue. I mean the really big issue. Spending money. Okay, so up to now we've got flights, hotels, transport costs all covered. But how about spending money? How much are you likely to spend on a 2-week holiday to Pattaya if you're including food, drink, entertainment? Oh Jesus, who knows? How long is a piece of noodles? This is the all-important point. Everyone is different. How much do you drink? Do you drink at all? Are you content with modest cafes for eating your daily meals, or do you insist on fancy restaurants? These are the questions that only you can answer. So the best I can do is tell you what I spend on food and drink. Well, I'd say for purely food and drink, how about £35 a day? Yes, that's about what I spend. That's usually one main cafe meal and a late night fast food. Then you add up a few 7-Eleven snacks and beer. Yes, I can drink a fair bit, but not as much as a lot of 2-week visitors do. I gotta say, I'm a long-term traveller, so I tend to pace myself. Some days I'll spend more than that on food and drink. Some days, if I want to rest, I'll spend less than that. But £35 a day is probably the average for me. But if you're travelling for 2 weeks and want to enjoy yourself every day, I'd say you aim for £50 a day for food and drink. That's a substantial amount, and that's about £700 for 2 weeks. Okay, so for flights, transport, hotels, food and drink, we're up to £1,580 for a 2-week holiday to Pattaya. Still not bad. Anything else? How about excursions? Or do you just want to hang around Pattaya for 2 weeks? Well, I'm not going to include any excursions because if you've never been to Pattaya before, there's enough going on there for 2 weeks to keep you entertained. Excursions are going to cost more, but that's up to you. So for the 2-week budget traveller to Pattaya, £1,580. Now come on, for all you've heard about Thailand being expensive, you must admit that's not bad. Wait a minute, have we covered everything? Oh yes, there is one more thing that you may want to spend money on. Oh yes. Ladies. Yes, ladies. Okay, let's not beat about the bush. If you've heard of Pattaya and you've seen all of the videos, you will gather that Pattaya has an abundance of lovely ladies. You can meet them in bars, you can meet them in nightclubs, massage parlours, freelancers, whatever. And what is universal about women is that they don't come cheap. That's not just in Thailand, that's everywhere on the planet. Women do not come cheap. But I have to say, the Thai ladies are worth it. So you're on a 2-week budget holiday, but you still want to have fun with the ladies. So how much will you spend on female company? Well, before anyone gets any ideas, I'm not going to start giving prices out for pay for play. That's not allowed in Thailand, and obviously I gotta be a bit vague. All I'll say is that you can budget your prices for everything else, but it's when you encounter Thai ladies, that's when your spending money really goes up. From the moment you enter a beer bar and order yourself a drink, the pressure will be on you to spend more. Your bottle of beer is 80 Thai baht, but the lady who serves it to you will suggest you buy her a drink also. She seems nice and friendly, so you may well oblige. Except her drink is not 80 Thai baht, it's twice that price because it's classed as a lady drink. This is just the beginning of how Thai bar girls will try and milk you for all they can. You enter a bar and give the impression you are a generous guy, look out. Before you know it, these lovely friendly ladies will be wanting you to ring the bell where you buy everyone a drink. They want you to play a board game which they will always win, so you will have to buy them more drinks. Come on, if you're a newbie, watch out. Keep your guard up or it could end up blowing a hole in your daily budget. So, ladies. Yes, ladies. There's no doubt that there's plenty of them available in Pattaya, and you want some female company. Well, it's up to you. You may want to meet one girl and stay with her throughout your 2-week stay, or you may want to fill your boots, as I have tended to do in the past. It's up to you. How many ladies? Well, you may want to take it easy and aim for a magnificent 7, or you may really want to make the most of your stay and aim for a dirty dozen. Yes, when I first started going to Thailand for 2 weeks at a time, a magnificent 7 was more than enough to make my holiday worthwhile. After 2 weeks of fun in the sun and a magnificent 7, I would return home with a big Cheshire Cat grin on my face. Later, I started going to Thailand for a month at a time. And when I was going there for a month, I would always aim for a dirty dozen. It became a bit of a running joke after a while. I'd return home from a holiday in Thailand and people would often say, "How did your holiday go, Ed?" Nudge, nudge. "You look invigorated, Ed. I take it you had your dirty dozen." Okay, so I think I've made my point there. Women cost money. Is that a surprise to anyone? So let's get back to this budget 2-week holiday. For flights, hotels, travel to airport, food and drink, we are up to £1,580 for 2 weeks. Great value. So how much money are you going to lavish on the ladies? Well, it's entirely up to you. It's up to your libido and your wallet. Whether you take the ladies for a night out or a day out, or simply want to have a bit of how's your father, having fun with the ladies will increase your budget dramatically. So what's the answer? Well, you know what? Remember when I said your daily food and drink budget should add up to £700 for that 2-week period? Well, I'd add another £700 for having fun with the ladies. Yes, that other £700 could include anything from lady drinks to bar fines and beyond. You want to have fun with the ladies, but you don't want to go over the top. Add another £700 to your overall budget and see how far you can get. I'd say you could have a lot of fun with that figure, just so long as you don't get your ladies from go-go bars. Okay, so that's it. I think I've covered just about everything. The question I've often been asked by newbies, how much money will I need to spend 2 weeks in Pattaya? I think I've answered that question as best as I can. The total estimated budget is £2,280. That's the figure I believe a budget traveller will need for 2 weeks of fun in the sun in Pattaya. For £2,280, you're going to eat, drink and have plenty of fun for that amount of money. Personally, I would play it safe and round that figure off to £2,500. Now that is a figure that I really believe in. For £2,500 for 2 weeks in Pattaya, you could have a really great time and not run short of money. If you find yourself spending more than £2,500, then perhaps you're not really a budget traveller. It's also important to remember your travel insurance. That should well be included with that surplus amount of money inside the £2,500 estimate. So there you go. That's how much money for a budget traveller who wants to spend 2 weeks in Pattaya. But what about the mid-range traveller? The one who demands a bit more luxury? Well, it's easy. If you demand a bit more luxury, then add a bit more money. For another £1,000, you can stay in better hotels with swimming pools, eat at better restaurants and have more lavish entertainment. At the end of the day, it's all up to you. The estimate for a mid-range traveller, shall we say £3,500 to £4,000? That sounds reasonable enough to me. So anyway, I hope this has been useful to some people, but I'm not finished with this subject yet, because in part 2 of this vlog, I'm going to go straight from budget traveller to the other end of the spectrum, the 2-week millionaires. Now that should be fun. That's coming soon.